Hey, what's going on, everybody? So in this video, I want to talk about 5 positives from this past season. I think that Miami can build on moving forward under Coach Cristobal. And I just want to start, first off, I want to thank everybody for watching the channel. Let's get right into it. With my first thing is Tyler Van Dyke. I know many of you guys are excited about him and his future. I think the biggest thing with Tyler was that his consistent performances started to add up. It's one thing to have good performances in a game or two, but Tyler, his last 6 games of the regular season, had over 300 yards in each game, had at least 3 touchdown passes, and I know many of you are excited about what he can do in his next year. I think the offseason is going to be really big for him. I think people should be excited about him based on some of the things he did this year. Anytime a team has a quarterback heading into the next year, it certainly helps their chances. It certainly helps with the positive momentum. So he stands out to me as the number one thing that Miami has going for itself moving into the offseason, heading into next year. My number 2 thing is the amount of offensive playmakers that he has at the receiver position and tight end position among the young guys. I thought a lot of guys showed flashes, and that's my number 2 takeaway from this season when you look at the receivers. And yeah, you would like to see some more consistent performances, but Charleston Rambo was handling the bulk of the load, Mike Harley there as well. But I thought what you saw from the offensive guys that were catching passes, mainly from Tyler, was a lot of guys showed flashes throughout the year. Keyshawn Smith down the stretch, 3 games with a touchdown out of 4 to end the regular season. Xavier Restrepo had that big game with 7 catches against Pittsburgh. Also the touchdown against Alabama to build on. Brashard Smith had that big long touchdown against Virginia Tech. Romello Brenson, that crazy score against Central Connecticut State. So it goes on and on with the amount of productivity, some flashes that guys showed. Another young guy, Elijah Arroyo at tight end, I thought it seemed like he didn't have a lot of catches, but whenever he had the ball, he was able to kind of get upfield and again, show flashes. And that's what you want to build on moving forward. So that's my number 2 takeaway from this past season. Something to build on moving forward was just the amount of guys, amount of young playmakers that Tyler was able to find. And I'll be very curious to see how they're going to develop. And I don't want to forget about Jacoby George, those 2 big catches against Duke in that regular season finale. Again, showing flashes of his ability. A lot to build on there. My number 3 takeaway, the thing that stood out to me about this past season, something to build on, is on the defensive side of the ball. A number of guys did show flashes and made strides, but I think it starts at the safety position. I think, when you have a guy like Cameron Kitchens and James Williams get as much experience as they got this past year, that's something to build on moving forward in that back end. And I thought both of those guys showed flashes. They did a good job of, taking advantage of their opportunities. Certainly they're not finished products. There's things to build on. There's things to get better at. But I just thought both of those guys played off each other really well. Kitchens got more snaps, but James at times was the more productive player. But also, again, with James, I know many of you are a little bit disappointed maybe in some of the penalties, but I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to be someone that can have a really big offseason and really move forward. And I know Cam has mentioned that they really do work well off each other. 2 different kind of guys in terms of how they approach the safety position. But again, I think having those guys in the back end can really help the defense get better. And I think they're going to be keys. And I know Avante Williams earned playing time throughout the year. It's kind of that third safety late, once Bubba Bolden got injured, and he was a guy that could step in once Gervin Hall was out of the mix. So again, Avante was able to get some playing time as well once he was eligible to play. So I think just overall with those 3 safeties, 3 young guys that Miami is looking forward to building on moving forward with the defense, and they're still waiting to, name a coordinator at this time. So back to offense for my number 4 thing to build on, and maybe it's a little bit of a surprise because it's the running back position, and Miami ranked towards the bottom of the ACC in running the ball this past year. But I think Jalen Knighton showed, again, kind of going back to showing flashes, and hopefully Miami can run the ball better moving forward. It wasn't just about the rushing totals, but their yards per carry as a team was just over, maybe 3.2, 3.3, right in that range, which certainly not good enough. They need to get up over 4 as a team. But, Jalen Knighton had that 160-yard game against Georgia Tech. And I thought Don Chaney Jr. was, in store for a year where he could have had a productive season. And then Thad Franklin showed later in the year, those last 2 games where, he showed that he could be productive. And Cody Brown just getting that experience I thought was big. So I think from the running game standpoint, all four of those guys have ability. I think there's something to build on with each of them moving forward, and I think that's something that they will certainly look to do. And then my fifth and final takeaway from this past season that I think Miami can build on moving forward is just that they were able to win games down the stretch, and certainly they had that disappointing start to the year, but I think winning is very important as you try to get a winning culture established. And not just the actual results, but I think just gaining that confidence that they can win games. There's some positive momentum that they were able to build with that. And I think winning 5 out of 6, and certainly that disappointing loss to Florida State will not resonate well with them in the offseason. But I think just winning those games, in particular, they were able to get a couple wins against ranked opponents. I think this is a program that, a group of guys that needs to have results to build their confidence, actual results, rather than just hoping that they can win these games. I think that the fact that they were able to do that, I think is very important. So again, it doesn't erase the beginning of the season, but I think it was just good that they were able to get these wins under the belt. There's a lot of positives that comes with winning, and certainly with Coach Cristobal coming in, there's a lot of things that he was able to do at Oregon in terms of winning. And so hopefully, meshing the two things he's learned, not just at Oregon, but at Alabama, his previous stops at FIU and Miami and Rutgers can certainly help him as well. So he's certainly trying to, get Miami to winning ways and compete for a conference championship, and hopefully it happens sooner than later. But again, these 5 things are just the 5 that I was thinking about and wanted to share. Again, starting with Tyler Van Dyke and the offensive playmakers, and there's other guys too. I'm very curious to see how the offseason goes. I think the bowl game coming up is very important for them to win that as well. We saw what it did last time Miami snapped a losing streak in the bowl game. They went on to win their next 10 games of the following season, a 15-game winning streak from 16 to 17. So I think that certainly helped them as well. And I think this could be, I'm not saying they're going to go ahead and win their next 10 games to start the year, but it just shows you the proof in terms of what it takes that you can actually get that positive winning culture going, and what it can mean if you can win that bowl game, even though it's not a highly regarded game. It's certainly one that they could do, certainly a win that they could do. So I just want to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks to everybody for subscribing to the channel. And stay locked in. Definitely thank everybody, and happy holidays. Some of you might be curious where I am shooting this video, and this is in the Wynwood district in Miami. It is a very unique area with really cool murals, and I want to show you some of the exhibits at the Wynwood walls.